You're listening to the Truck Talk with Trivista podcast, brought to you by the truck, trailer, and equipment experts at Trivista Companies, the ultimate source for all things transportation. I'm Anita Massey, Director of Marketing. Thanks for joining us. So today we're joined by Justin Severa, who is the sales manager at Trivista Equipment in Painesville, Ohio. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. You gave such an amazing presentation at our sales summit last month. I just thought it would be great to kind of get you on camera and just talk about all the many different things that Trivista Equipment does and offers our customer base, because I know I learned a lot and had no idea that you guys had the capabilities that you have up there.
Sure.
So I kind of broke these out into 4 categories based on what you presented. So if it's okay, I'll just give an overview and then we'll start getting into the depth of it.
Sounds great.
Okay. So snow and ice control equipment. I know you guys do that.
Yep.
Dump, platform, van, and specialty bodies. Refuse, hook lift, and roll-off equipment. Chassis and suspension modifications. And then lift gates, lighting, hydraulics, cranes, tarp systems, and towing equipment. So that is a lot of stuff that you guys do. And this is done out of Painesville, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's start with snow and ice control equipment. Just, if you can, give me an overview of
Sure.
what all those products are, brands,
gotcha.
that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So being in the northeastern Ohio, we're definitely familiar with snow. Not as much as some area of the country, but we do okay. So we try to partner with a lot of manufacturers to find equipment that fits those needs of that area and other areas as well. Whether that's snow plows or salt spreaders or even controls and things like that to integrate into a system to best suit the application.
Sure. So is this like more customized equipment where the customer is asking for something specific, or where you're
usually it's either a customer. A lot of our customers are very informed and have a lot of experience in what they're doing, and they've tried all kinds of things over the years, and they've found this package or this setup works best for what they do, or this is what they're most used to. Where sometimes it's this is the easiest to maintain, or this is this works for a freeway better than it does a side road, or things like that. There are millions of different options as far as combining equipment to make what someone looks for, and even and some of that is what we do is we're looking at that operation and trying to understand what they need in order to tailor that equipment.
Okay. So I'm assuming like a municipality would come to you and say, we've got to control snow and ice this winter, so
Sure.
we need some sort of a spreader,
Right.
and then we need a plow to remove.
Yep.
Okay, I know the spreaders, the plows. Then you've got like what's an underbody hoist? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so different types of ways to lift a dump body. So a lot of times those spreaders are paired with a dump truck, obviously. So they're how are you getting salt to the spreader? If it's an under tailgate spreader, so kind of hanging off the back of the truck, you see a lot of those, especially in this area, where you're raising the body to push salt to that spreader.
Okay.
And different ways that body mounts and sits on the truck. So an underbody hoist, all that, the hydraulics that actually dump the body are kind of central.
What raises it up and down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where a telescopic hoist is going to be at the front of the body, sitting vertical.
Okay.
See.
And you guys install all of that?
Yep.
And the hydraulic system, is that the raising up of the body itself?
So that that hydraulic system is going to operate probably a lot of different things. Whether if it's just a dump truck, those are fairly simple operations. But as soon as you add like an auger spreader and a spinner that's going to throw salt, and in front plow functions, and maybe liquid applications and things like that. So then those hydraulic systems get progressively more and more complicated. Whether it might be wings or
what's
all
a
kinds
wing?
of different
Explain what a wing
snow
is.
plows off the side of the truck. So you can
a snow plow off. Okay, so it literally touches the pavement.
Yep.
It's just on the side.
Right.
Okay.
And that could be mounted at the front of the truck or in the middle of the truck to try to
widen the breadth.
the road.
Okay.
Yep, and keeping the truck on the road, or maybe even servicing a second lane kind of idea on a
Okay,
freeway.
that makes sense. All right. What other types of snow and ice control equipment? I'm kind of looking through the photos that you provided. Is there any
Sure.
other things that we haven't talked about that you guys can add to a truck?
Really, I mean, there are millions of options, but whether it's something simple, again, like a dump body with a spreader underneath, that's probably
Okay.
the most simple method of that.
Okay.
You can do hopper spreaders that insert into a body that kind of have their own shape and keep you from having to raise a body to spread salt.
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
An auger that's going to run long ways through it to pull material out of a hopper to a
Okay.
spinner.
Okay.
Or even bodies with those conveyor systems built into the floor so that
Okay.
it's lower profile and
Yeah.
things like
So
that.
so literally pretty much customized for any street application or
Absolutely. Yep.
any. What about this twin arm tarp system? What's the tarp system for? To hold the material in while they're going down the road, or?
Generally, yeah, it's either
Okay.
you're either protecting the material, which is more difficult, but you're keeping it from scattering is really what you're doing.
Okay.
You're going to keep trying to keep, well, salt plus water equals rocks. You know what I mean? So when it gets wet, it'll even freeze.
Okay.
And things like that. It's
Okay.
it gets hard that way. So if you can keep it, the drier you keep it, the better it works.
Okay.
In that case, as far as storage.
That makes sense.
And transportation. So, but the tarp, is keeping material from blowing off the top and things like that as well.
Okay. Important when you're the driver
Protect-
behind the truck.
Absolutely. Sure. Yep.
Yeah, I've had that happen, and it's not fun. Okay, so the next category, dump, platform, van, and specialty bodies.
Sure.
I know you guys do a lot of specialty stuff, so just tell us what does this category mean? What does it consist
Sure.
of?
So, again, it might be, platform bodies,
Okay.
whether it's, transporting goods that way. You could have
The
flatbeds.
platform body is flat.
Yeah.
Flat, no cover, no tarp. It's just like basically a open.
It could have a tarp. I mean,
Okay,
there are a lot of
okay.
times they'll do sliding tarps and all kinds of
Okay.
stuff like that. But yeah, most of the time, it's a flat deck that you're loading things
Okay.
on. You can do the same thing, smaller wise. Maybe it has a towing hitch built into it,
Mhm.
for gooseneck towing or something like that.
Okay. Custom lighting, and you can relocate fuel tanks. Talk about that. I mean, that seems pretty serious to me to be able to relocate a fuel tank.
Sure. Actually, we had a project just here recently where what the customer needed and the chassis that they didn't work together. So
They weren't fitting together properly?
Right. It was the chassis had a rear fuel tank on it that
Okay.
was that made it not fit the bodies they wanted to go on there.
Okay.
So again, as we're I think of us as kind of that solution provider mentality. We want to solve that problem and create a product that is correct for you.
So you literally
the-
said,
so
we
we're like,
can
well,
we can make
Sure.
this
Let me
fit.
see if I can figure out how to relocate that, or how
Okay.
do we change how the chassis was or how the equipment was in order to best fit the application you're looking to complete. So
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, there's probably not a lot of people in this regional area, I would think, that provides this service. Is that right?
I don't know.
Not to that level of
right? Probably not to
customization.
that level of,
Yeah.
of ability.
Okay.
I think that being the company that we are, we have access to a lot of products and a lot of ideas and support that way to make something like that happen. So.
Exactly. And all of these services that get done in Painesville, I know in Painesville, Ohio, are in Ohio, of course, but they can be applicable to all of our other regions, all of our
Absolutely,
other
sure.
states. Okay, all right. Chassis swaps, remounting of equipment, similar to what you were talking about, I guess, but chassis swap, tell me about that.
So we've had, especially with the way the truck market has been lately,
Right.
where new trucks are not as available.
Mhm.
We've been doing a lot with used trucks. So
Okay.
whether we're bringing in a used truck and changing what its function is, recently we just did a truck that it was a box truck in fairly decent condition. We converted it to a hook lift for a customer to haul dumpsters with. Or it might be that something is wrong with the chassis. Another one we did a few months ago was a truck that caught fire, and so we reused the equipment onto a newer chassis, still
Okay.
a used truck, but changing the wheelbase to make it match changed lift axles and
Pretty much everything.
modified
sounds
it, right, modified it to make the old equipment fit a different chassis.
like. Okay. I'm reading fold down sides. What does that mean?
That was a dump body that we installed for a customer. A lot of landscapers like that. So the sides of the dump body latch and fold down for access.
To easy get the
Whether
mulch
you're-
out or the
sure,
dirt
right,
out.
yeah,
Okay.
You can do, a lot of times those are handy on if you're working on the side of a road as well. So you're not going behind the truck to access what's in there, but you can pull it off the side. Or even if you're hauling, multi-purposing a truck, you're hauling pallets or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
You get
Easy to
access
get
to
it.
have a
yeah.
pallet at the front of the truck and be able to take
Okay.
it off with a forklift.
Yeah, okay, that's very
Yeah.
smart. I mean, you guys just do so much. I don't want to miss anything here.
We'll try anything once, you know.
I've heard that, and
Oh.
I'm amazed because I think
Sure.
you guys do a great job of you don't just send a customer away, because I know a lot of companies would say, well, we don't do that.
Sure.
But we try to always do it. And the cool
Correct.
thing is that we have the expertise in-house to do it.
Correct.
So you have to have the vision for
Yeah.
it, but then the people in place that can execute. And that's
Right,
what
absolutely.
we have.
We have a lot of experience in our
Right.
in our division of doing this.
Right. A lot of good
So
guys
we've
on
done
your
a
team.
lot of absolutely.
Yeah, cool. I love it.
So-
All right, so the next category, refuse, hook lift, and roll-off equipment.
Yes. So Trivista equipment, we are, we represent New Way refuse trucks,
Mhm.
swap loader hoists, hook lift hoists, gal fab, and numerous other ones as well.
Perkins,
Yep,
Northeast.
Perkins,
yeah.
Tippers, a few different container manufacturers and things like that. So, and again, our goal is to find the best product to meet what your application.
Okay.
Whether that's some of the trucks we've been building lately are small, like Class 6, a CV
A
chassis
CV, yeah.
with a hook lift that'll take 10, 11-foot boxes.
Okay.
And that seems to be a really popular market at this point.
Now, what kind of an end use would that be?
It's mostly residential or like DIY projects that these
Okay.
dumpsters are going to.
Okay.
Not something that is terribly heavy or terribly large.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Okay.
where that might be a 10-yard box would be appropriately sized for that truck. Where
Okay.
a larger truck might be a 22-foot long body that is 40-yard capacity
Okay.
for much bigger demolition jobs or something like that.
What about cart tipper installation? I don't
So
know what
we
that
do,
is.
being New Way refuse trucks, we do a lot of accessory components. So this, in that case, a cart tipper, we've done a lot of, on rear loading packers, set up equipment that dumps the can into the hopper.
Okay.
Instead of a guy trying to lift it in there, they're grabbing the front of the can or wrapping around the can.
Mhm.
And picking it up to dump it into the hopper to make that process easier.
Okay. Yeah. Super clean refuse pickup is what I'm seeing. It's like everything they have so many options on there to keep the refuse contained.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest thing about refuse.
The hardest thing.
is actually, you see it, you dump a can and trying to make sure that you're containing everything and you're keeping the area around you clean. It's a lot of work to
It is a
dispose of all
challenge.
that.
It is. Okay, so second to last category, chassis and suspension modifications.
Sure. So
Talk
again,
about
we do just about anything. So whether that's stretching or shortening a truck to meet a different application, we've done a lot of that with used trucks lately, trying to
Is that frame
find
lengthening? Is that
vehicles.
what you're,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So either adding frame and moving, lengthening that wheelbase,
Right.
or the opposite, making it shorter to fit
Okay.
something. Adding lift axles and suspension difference, to try to change what you can legally carry with the truck.
Right.
Trying to think what else. We've done full frame rail replacements in trucks and frame repairs. Again, as we've seen a lot of people that are doing things to trucks that would have never been repaired before.
They would have just been totaled.
Because, right.
Yeah.
Because the new ones they're not available. So kind of open up those possibilities of repairing those things.
Right, keeping the guys on the road and
Absolutely.
bringing the money in.
especially if a truck is in otherwise good shape, that might be something that is a cost-effective way to keep that truck longer. You
Right.
know?
Are you guys having issues like everybody else is with just, parts sourcing and, things like that, material sourcing, or is it not so much an issue with this kind of work?
We tend to be pretty imaginative when it comes
Okay.
to coming up with what we need.
Okay.
Work with again a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different suppliers in order to try to come up with what's best and what's available. I had a customer recently here. It was like was looking for a lift gate, and one manufacturer had a very long lead time but was less expensive, and one manufacturer was more expensive but had it in a few weeks.
Right.
It's like, so where do we want to go with that? And you give the customer those options to try to figure out.
Right.
They're, other than manufacturer, they have the same function, they have the same style. It's just do you want to, or what is the priority on this?
Yeah.
And truthfully, he opted for one. I'm okay to wait.
Okay.
I don't want to spend that extra money, but it is his option in order to
Sure.
decide how that works. So
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
as
And
you're
then finally,
transitioning to this one,
lift
right?
gates,
Lift
go right
gates,
ahead.
that
Go right
flows
ahead.
right in. And this one, again, we do a lot of truck accessories of just about anything you could imagine. If it can go on a truck, chances are we would like to put it on for you.
Okay.
Or supply parts for it, or service, or any of those
Okay.
kind of things. as
That
well.
was going to be
So-
my next question, was about parts, because there's so many different brands and
Yep.
vendors. So I know Trivista is an all makes parts supplier.
Mhm.
I assume that's the same for Trivista equipment.
Absolutely.
You can find it.
There are, I'm sure that there's something that is might be a proprietary part to something that we don't represent. That we may come across that.
Okay.
But again, we try to have that broad range of available components and everything else, and it
Okay.
might be something that we can substitute with something we can supply too.
Okay.
A lot of equipment shares components and things like that are
Okay.
similar or identical even.
Okay.
To
So-
make that happen. But as far as truck accessories, again, there's that category has like the longest name ever. But like lift gates and tarp systems and cranes and just about anything you can
Anything,
think of.
right. Okay.
Again, lift gates. We just had a customer we did a lift gate for on it was a van, like a cutaway van chassis, and they had trying to solve a problem for them. Their normal size trucks that they could get, they weren't available, and so they purchased this one, and it wasn't conducive to a lift gate. So we actually worked with Tommy Gate to come up with, it was a lift gate that was mounted inside the box to the floor of the body.
Okay.
So that fits their food service carts perfectly. It's a catering.
That's custom
catering business.
measured.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that project came out very well, and they were very happy with that too.
So I'm assuming it'd be impossible to say what an average project lead time would be, because they're all so different, right?
Absolutely right.
I mean,
you're looking at how much labor goes into something too.
Yeah.
If you look at a lift gate installation, might be a day or two project, depending on how complicated it is.
Right.
Where replacing frame rails on a truck is going to be, might be 500 hours in order to accomplish
wow.
that.
Okay.
And what you find along the way when you do something like that.
So you have to be telling the customers up front, we estimate
Absolutely.
this amount of time, but
Sure.
be flexible, because it could eke into longer, or it could be
Yeah,
shorter.
sure.
But so you let them know ahead.
I think we do a fairly good job of predicting, based on the project, when we could accomplish something. So knowing that, hey, I could do this in the month of January or something
Right.
like that for you,
Okay.
which that might be based on when we have parts or when we have a available build slot or something like that in the
Okay.
shop, and what else is going on at that point in time.
Right. Right.
But I think we do a fairly decent job predicting that, and truthfully, it's a lot of it's being honest with the customer and talking about it, because again, we're trying to, it's a partnership we're forming with them, as we're trying to provide a product or service that fills a need that they have. It's
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you spending time today because I think a lot of people don't know a lot about what Trivista Equipment
Sure.
does, and that's one of the divisions within our company.
Absolutely.
And that, we're based in Painesville, Ohio, but we can still do work for any customer anywhere.
Absolutely. Mhm.
We can do the work and then transfer the truck down, drive the truck down,
Sure.
haul the truck down, whatever.
And we've also worked with other branches on projects like that, whether it's sourcing dump bodies or
Okay.
things like that, because again, a lot of what we do is available throughout all of the locations,
Mhm.
whether that's installed in Painesville or not. A lot of the support parts and things like that we're stocking in Painesville, but that doesn't mean that if somebody had a need that it couldn't be transferred
Mhm.
or even started to stock somewhere if it was something that
Okay.
one of our pieces of equipment that we came up with ended up somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
we've done we've done quite a few snow trucks into Indiana,
Mhm.
and that's something that our Indiana locations have worked with us to see what they need to have and things like that,
And then just custom order
Sure,
it, and then you guys
exactly.
take care of it and bring
Yep,
it down.
yeah, we either
Okay.
transfer it out of our inventory or get it sent right directly to them. So
Okay. Well, is there anything else that we've not asked or haven't discussed about Trivista Equipment that you would like to add?
oh, that's tough. And we're growing, so so what we can offer and things like that is rapidly changes.
Right.
And
The
again,
menu is expanding.
and truthfully, if you have a project and more than happy to look at it, and it might be something we say, hey, this is more than what I'm capable of,
Right.
or more than I can accomplish in a certain time frame, those kind of things. But I think that again, we are our goal is to provide solutions to to a problem you might have or something like that. So
Okay.
it's a fun place to be, actually.
Yeah.
You know?
I would like the creativity of
We
it.
like
And the
creativity
diversity.
and truthfully, we like a challenge. So some of that is
Sure.
exciting too.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for your time, and I think we'll just wrap up by saying if any customer has any sort of need like this, any sort of a customization need, that they should visit us on our website or contact us at the number shown below, and we'll be able to help them.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Justin, for your time.
Thank you, Anita.
Appreciate it. To experience this podcast and more, find us on your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Trivista Companies.